This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jim Schaller.
Good morning. Today, podcast number 5 with the Good Neighbor Podcast. And this morning we have Joe Pavich from Realty World and Joe Pavich Real Estate. Pleasure. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Thanks, Jim. Same here. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, well, I know. I guess we'll jump right in here. You've been around Southwest Florida for quite a while. What made you get into real estate to begin with?
Jim, before I even get going, I want to tell you one thing. The name Joe Pavich Real Estate, the reason why it's Joe Pavich and not Joe Pavich or Jason or Joni or whatever is because we all have J names. My dad's Joe, my mom is Joni, I'm Joe, and my brother's Jason. And we've actually continued that on through our family as well. We have my kids are Joe, it's Joey, Juliana, and Jacob, and we have a dog named Benny, so we broke it there.
There you go. Oh God, oh boy. So see, I'm a Jim. I could be part of the family, and actually,
Yes.
My daughter's name is Jordan, so I keep the J's as well. I love it.
Hey, you're right there. You're right there. So in 2001 is when I started real estate, Jim, and I never had aspirations to become a real estate agent. I mean, real estate was never a thing when I grew up. I remember open houses on the weekends with my parents was the most boring thing you can ever do. You know, I don't know how we survived. I'm just kidding, but you know, there was no technology. Obviously, there was no iPads to play on. I remember we would just go in these houses and maybe bring our G.I. Joe guys with us and
hope somebody drove by, right?
Yeah, but I never thought it would ever be a thing. And I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I was very happy there. I was climbing the corporate ladder. As a matter of fact, I think Enterprise has helped me with the way I am today. You know, when Enterprise Rent-A-Car's sort of philosophy is to never overpromise, always overdeliver. And really, they allowed you to be able to manage your own business at a young age, which is really, really a cool thing. So, I mean, that's helped me, but I feel like, you know, obviously a lot of the traits that I have are from my family and everything. But, you know, got into real estate in 2001 and the day one, got some good business cards, stuffed them in my pocket, didn't have a dollar to spend on anything. And I just started working, you know, get up every morning, get out the door, meet some people and start building my business. And 22 years later, and it hasn't gone so bad.
And a lot has changed, but it hasn't, because you've got that same work ethic that's going on, and but the industry continues to change up and down quite a bit.
It sure does, yes.
So speaking about the industry, I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that have these misconceptions or myths, or maybe they're a little bit scared about the industry and getting involved with real estate agents. What do you find out there?
Well, you know, one of the common things we hear from people is, hey, I'm getting my real estate license. So everybody thinks this career is easy. And I'm just telling you, it's not. Because you have your license doesn't really mean anything. You have to get out there and you got to build your name. You know, if you have a career, no matter what it is, you know, they may know you as, I don't know, a baseball player or a kitchen company or a builder, whatever it might be. You know, you might be good at that career, but obviously you have to find a way for people to know of Joe, the real estate agent. And that just takes time. People do think it's easy, and it's not. I used to kind of think when I first started the visualization of going to Publix with my name badge on, standing in line, and they would say, "Oh, Joe, you must be a realtor. I want to buy my house. I want to buy a house." Today, it's a little bit different because the person that's sitting behind you in Publix probably has their real estate license, or their wife does, or someone in their family does. So you have to be out there and you have to really work hard. And, you know, if somebody wants to beat me, they got to outwork me. So it's the way it goes.
Got to get up early. Exactly. Right. That's
right.
That's great work ethic. And I think a lot of that has been lost over the years as well, too. So kind of bridging off of that a little bit, you know, what made you who you are today? You know, how did you get to that level? How did you come across that drive?
A lot of it was just the way I was as a kid and watching my parents and how they were with people. Um, People always loved my parents. I would watch how they would interact with people, and everybody loves them. And that's obviously one of the reasons why. And the second reason would be, when I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, Jim, they really instill um, a lot of those management traits in you, allowing you to just be out there and make it happen. And I would say the combination of the two. I could remember even being a kid and getting on the baseball field. I really wanted to be the best baseball player that I could be. Not the best baseball player, Jim,
Right.
but the best baseball player that I could be. And I was. I feel like I did as good as I can possibly done. I worked hard. When something that most people don't know is I got into martial arts in my teens, and I was as good as I could be. I mean, I loved it. I just have that drive to just learn more and listen and not be, not take constructive criticism when people tell you something. And that's a lot of it too, because when you feel like you're getting good at something and somebody says to you, "Hey, Jim, you do a great job with your podcast. You're doing real good, but I think you should just do something else. Try this or try that." People get so defensive these days and they can't handle constructive criticism. If people could just sit back and just listen for a second to what somebody else has to say, it may be something that can help you. So for me, I was always that way. I always wanted to be the best I could. So, with
Yeah.
clients, I would ask them the same thing, Jim. I would ask them, is there anything that we can improve on? Were you 100% completely satisfied? And just listen to them. And sometimes I would hear something that I didn't want to hear because I felt like it went so perfect. But the next time around,
You learn
made
from
me
it.
even made me
Yeah.
even better.
Yep. That's as I always say, if you're not learning, you're not growing. And there's so many people that get to a certain level and think, hey, I'm it. I don't need to do anymore. But you know, I've been in sales for a long time, and what happened to typewriter salesmen? They didn't evolve.
Yeah, that's right. That's
you
right.
know,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, you've got to learn new things. So now I know you've grown up since located down here at a young age to the Estero area. What does the Estero area, I don't say, mean to you or encompass for you? But why the area? I mean, it's seen a lot of change and growth. I remember when I first moved down here, it was Fort Myers, Naples, and Bonita was the trailer area in between with nothing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and now it's grown into a great, beautiful city, and it continues to grow, which is wonderful. But why is that important to you? Why is this area important to you?
Well, I would say that my mom, if she was listening, she will be listening to this podcast. She's probably
Right.
going to say it's because of me, because
Right.
I picked this area called Estero. My mom and dad and I and my brother would come down to Florida every year for a few months. Sometimes it would be the whole summer. Sometimes it would be a month in Christmas. And she felt like my mom really felt like this would be a nice growing area. They were building a high school at the time, and it was, yeah, I gotta give it to her. I mean, there was nothing here,
Right.
Jim. There was nothing in
I-
Estero. I mean, I remember one of the first days of school, I got on the bus, and we lived about 2 miles from Estero High School, and I was the first one on the bus, and I think it was like an hour bus ride, to get to school. I was an hour. I mean, I could have walked to school in the morning, but I was just surprised at how many kids got picked up and the routes that they would take to find people, because from what I could see, there was no one around here
You
in
had
the
no
whole area.
neighbors.
They had to deliver pizza halfway. We had to meet them in Bonita Springs or San Carlos to get a pizza. That's how
Oh,
remote we were. So it's really cool looking back. I really wish I would have taken more pictures and really
right.
enjoyed the moment. As a matter of fact, that's another thing too, enjoying the moment. I mean, everybody has to just look at what they're doing today and really know that down the road there's going to be a lot of change. And it's something I wish I would have seen. Had more pictures to show
Uh,
us there.
yeah, I mean, it's grown into, like I said, it's grown into a beautiful, great area, and there's just so much. There's such a bright future with the area. It's the growth and the people that are bringing in is just it is a good sense of community in the area.
Jim, my dad's going to listen to this as well, and he's probably going to say, his famous joke. So one of the funny stories is when my uncle came down here to Florida, he says, "Hey Joe, I'm sorry, let me go back. It wasn't my uncle. We got to remember the story. It was a friend of my father's, and he said, Joe, you're going to really like it down in Estero. He says there's a Croatian community right by you. It's a park for Croatians. We're Croatian, Jim.
Okay.
Croatian, Serbian, and Italian.
Very
So
nice.
my dad and mom said, wow, Croatian, like a Croatian park right by us. Well, when we moved here, we found out that it was the Croatian State Park, not Croatian. So the person that told us that was obviously wrong, but it was kind of a funny story for, yeah.
But drew you to the area, so that's what
Yeah,
important. And now you're down
that's
here.
right.
So what is there something about Realty World and Jay Pavich that people should know, and maybe makes you guys unique?
Well, Realty World is an international company. Most people don't know that. There's, I don't know exactly today, but close to 900 offices. And, we have the franchises here locally. So, yeah, it's a family owned, family run business. It's a great business for sure.
You've got
My
a great
mom,
staff
dad,
locally here, right? Yeah,
what's that?
you've got a great staff locally here. Support.
We do, yeah. And I would say that we have about 40 agents or so in
Oh,
that Estero location.
okay. So you're growing right along with the community out here. That is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, well,
Estero is a great location though, Jim, because I do a lot of work in Fort Myers, Bonita Springs, Naples. I do some work in Marco. I really work everywhere. So being right in the middle of the two is actually really good because it's 15 minutes one way, it's
right.
15 minutes the other, and I'm sitting right in the middle. So
I
it's
love
great.
the area too. It's easy to get everywhere, and it's like I said, you get down to Naples, you get up to Fort Myers, and there has been a lot of growth. Estero's not just Estero now. Now it's growing on the east side of 75, and that's a big area there too.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
well, very good. Well, I don't want to cut us short, but anything else you would like to share with us this morning?
No, Jim, the real estate market's great. It's just it's a different career. I mean, you got to move with the cheese. You have to always be thinking differently. I have to stay ahead of the curve. Every time you sell a home, you got to put money back into the business. You got to build the name, build the brand, make people happy, tell people about it, and it's a fun career. I mean, it's great for me. I have three kids who are all in sports, so I one of these days I'm going to have somebody follow me around with a camera for a full day, so you can see
We could have a
what my
reality show, right?
what my schedule is like. Because after work, I mean, it's like another job. I mean, but we love it, and it's so when Joey's got to be picked up at 3:30,
Yeah,
Juliana's got to pick up at this time. We got to drop Joey off to baseball, take Juliana to horseback riding,
right.
run Jake to soccer. You go to Joey's practice, grab him. We'll have it's great. It's crazy.
It's changed a lot. I mean, I like you grew up playing sports, and it was just at the time the parents were like, "Yep, just go ahead. Come back when you
Yeah,
come back." There was no travel league. There was no we go to practice and we'd come home, and that was it. And if we
travel is
wanted to
another
play
thing
something,
too. Yeah.
yeah, if we were to play something in the off season, we'd pick up another sport and play something else. Yeah,
It's interesting in the Midwest growing up though, because I don't recall there ever really being a lot of travel, like travel baseball,
yeah.
like there is now. And maybe there was, and
I
I
don't
just
think
didn't
there
get the
was.
memo. Yeah,
Right? I missed that one too. Yeah, I did. I played basketball. It was summer league basketball. I go to summer league, and that was it. That was the extent of my off-season training. It wasn't
yeah.
year round. So maybe it's a Florida thing. I don't know.
Another thing that's funny too, Jim, is when I grew up in Chicago, it's freezing. The lakes would freeze over. You know, Ice skating was a big thing and hockey. But you come to Florida and hockey. Everything's
Right?
hockey in Florida. When I
Right?
was
We
in the
got some great
Midwest,
teams down here, right?
yeah, and when I was in the Midwest, I mean, I don't recall anybody playing hockey there, and everybody would always ask me, "Oh, you're from Chicago or the Midwest," But yeah, it's crazy as popular as it is in Florida. It's great. So
it is. It's strange, but Florida's growing. We love Florida. That's why we're down here, and we love the Southwest Florida area as well. And I appreciate everything you do to contribute to the community and be part of it and help it grow.
thanks, Jim. Pleasure to see you. Great podcast. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for the time. How would people get a hold of you if they need to get a hold of you?
My cell phone, 239-910-0304, or my website, really easy, joepavichjr.com.
Great. Hey, you have a wonderful day, and we will be seeing you definitely for sure shortly here.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Estero. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpestero.com. That's gnpestero.com. Or call 239-296-2621.